What you got for us, bro?
So I think it was middle to end of last week, so definitely sometime after we recorded. Of course, Microsoft's been on a blitzing spree of just all their talk about the Bethesda stuff, and that all finally went through, and then just various different things.
Them and the
then
Patriots.
we started getting just some murmurings that, and some stuff dropping or hinting at the fact that Outriders might be coming to Game Pass day and date that it releases, which is April 1st. And then this week, it officially came out that Outriders is indeed going to be part of Game Pass on April 1st. So that, I feel like this is the first of what I would consider a pretty big third-party game to come out on the same day on Game Pass. Outside of that, there's been other smaller games and some indie titles and things that have come out, I believe, the day that they released. And then obviously anything that Microsoft has released since then has been come out the same day on Game Pass. But this is the first one, and I'm glad that they announced it in the middle of March, because again, with a April 1st release date, it's nice that they're giving people that are on that platform the option to cancel your pre-order if you had one. Because now there's no point in you having one. There's no need to buy it, because more than likely if you own an Xbox, you're probably already subscribed to Game Pass. So it gives them the time to do that, which is nice, because it could have been one of those things where just like, boom, hey, what's it on Game Pass? And then all these people would be like, well, shoot, now I've got to go through because sometimes there's stipulations and whatnot.
And they would have thought it was a joke.
That's true, because it does release on April 1st.
April 1st, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just one thing of note, so I think we talked about before in some of the times that we've talked about Outriders, it does have crossplay. It does not have cross progression. So if you have both platforms and you're like, oh, I want to play it on Xbox now because I can get it with Game Pass, which I'm already subscribed to, and you want to have all the stuff beforehand, but you've been playing maybe on the PlayStation, if Xbox is where you plan to play it now, you may want to go over there and start playing that demo and leveling up and everything, because your progression on the PlayStation won't transfer over, or whatever platform you were on. So now because that's one other thing to note, it's coming to Game Pass on the day of release to console and streaming. It is not coming to PC.
Right.
So if you've been playing on the PC, but now you want to get it free, and you also have an Xbox and you want to play it there, if that whole idea of all the stuff that you can earn will transfer over, just go play the demo on Xbox, because that's the only way you're going to get that stuff to transfer over.
Is there cross progression between the PS4 and PS5?
For Outriders?
Yeah.
I do not know that.
Because I feel like I started it in one. I think there is, because it's kind of like Destiny, where like right when you sign in, your character's right there. And so that's interesting that there won't be cross progression over the consoles when there is for the generations.
Right.
So did you play it on PS4 and then you started on PS5 and you saw that your stuff was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
My character was there and all that. So now it was very early, but I had created my character already, and that same character was on the PS5, because I downloaded it on the PS4 because I thought I was going to be able to play with Ed on the road that last weekend of the tour. And so I think there's cross progression between the generations. But man, this makes me really excited, because I was really torn about buying this game, because like I said, this game comes out on April 1st. April 7th is our first show out in the boondocks. And so I knew I wasn't going to really have internet the first month that it was out. And who doesn't want to play a game like this the first month it's out? And so this helps kind of ease me into it. Now, we'll be playing on the Xbox One X. I don't have the Series X. And so, there's a little bit of that bummer when it comes to party chat. But since it's just 3 of you and it's not PvP, hopefully you'll just get in there and the chat's going. Me and my buddies that play Call of Duty, we usually set a different party chat and then chat in there, not in Call of Duty, because usually you can't chat during the loading screens.
Yeah. And
so that might be like just a little annoying, but there's not like, I feel like unless you're fast traveling, there's not a grip of loading that I remember. Besides going from like the hub world into the world.
What are you getting at with the party thing? You're saying if you're playing with somebody across platform?
Yeah, I'm saying because I'll play with Ed, and Ed will play on PlayStation. I'll play on Xbox.
I got you now.
And so when me and Ed are chatting, it won't be as clean of a situation there. But I'm super glad it's coming to Game Pass because I really wanted to play this game, and now I won't feel guilty for playing it like 2 or 3 days and then not being able to play it for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
The case.
There is a pre-order, like a Ranger pack, like a pre-order bonus that you get that you do not get for free if you get it on Game Pass. So if you pre-ordered it and you wanted that, it'll still be available to purchase, but just a heads up that pre-order thing will not be available to you via Game Pass.
And some people that I've seen talk about Outriders, they say that cross-play isn't turned on by default. So by default,
it's not. I don't believe.
You just play on your people.
Correct.
So you have to go into the options, open it up for cross-play, and then get to
I think it was that way even in the demo, if I remember right. I feel like I went and turned it on.
Yep.
That's sick. Oh, I'm so glad. That's a great get. And this is when Game Pass starts becoming, and not that it wasn't this, but like when Chris, when you mentioned this is a big get for them, it's because it feels like, oh snap, this might become the thing that we hope it ends up being, to where like just regular games that aren't under their thing just come out for free,
right?
Day and date. It'd be one thing if it came out months and months from now, but the fact that it comes out the day it comes out is pretty baller, man.
I wonder how long ago this was put into place, because like me, someone had to tell me even about the demo. I'd forgotten all about this game, so I wonder if they acquired it before it the demo came out and kind of blew up a little bit, or if they grabbed it after. I'd be curious to know exactly when, because it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if it's like, hey, Outriders, and everyone. Oh, well, of course you get that game. Nobody,
Yeah, exactly. That game sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually, I don't think that we'll ever know, but I'm very curious about that as well, because it makes me wonder. Because again, when the demo dropped, I feel like I kind of same to you. I heard a lot of people like, oh, the demo, and I'd be like, I don't remember this game being mentioned. Like, I don't know anything about this game. What is this?
Yep.
And then, I obviously didn't fall in love with it quite the same way that you guys did, but I'm curious. Was it one of those things they were able to nail down in the last week or two because maybe their pre-orders weren't where they thought they were? And I'm sure Microsoft is dropping them a good amount of money to be a part of it, just like whatever, like Fall Guys or whatever would be to be exclusive on PlayStation Plus for at least a certain amount of time. Although I would assume when Game Pass is even higher. I don't know why I assume that, but it might be even higher. So I'm curious to know if that was the incentive or whatnot. And I'll also be curious to see how it goes going forward, because this is one of the big things about Game Pass. The fortunate thing with Game Pass is that Microsoft is such a big company and has so much money that they could afford to be in the hole for years upon years upon years upon years upon years with Game Pass and still be fine, and then eventually get it there because it's got so much stuff going for it. Because I think I've mentioned it here before, but my only concern with Game Pass is that if everything goes the streaming model, just like with music, I just feel like the games that we really love, or not we, but a lot of people really love, like your third person games that are story narrative based and that cost like millions upon millions, sometimes even up in the hundreds of millions of dollars to do. Like, I don't think Game Pass can sustain those type of games. I doubt Microsoft paid hundreds of millions of dollars for Outrider. I mean, so my fear is that if Game Pass becomes the norm and everybody just demands it to be a part of a subscription, that may reduce everything's going to turn into a games as a service. And I like games as a service. I'm not poo-pooing them. I like a lot of games as a service. I've been playing the mess out of Apex, which is not quite a games as a service, but it has a battle pass and all that kinds of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if this moves the needle for any other developers. I have to believe that there's going to be at least a handful of them that do buy into this kind of stuff and become day-and-date game release and everything on the Xbox side. But it would be curious to see, like, okay, is this the first domino to fall in a bunch? Or is this going to be like every couple of months we get one, it's like, yeah, that's awesome, but that's kind of it. It's just outside of Microsoft's offerings. Is that going to be it in terms of the big AAA style stuff?
Yeah. Right. What's interesting, too, about Outriders, and me and Ed talked about this, is that it's actually not a games as a service game, which is really interesting that they've come out and said that Outriders will be a complete experience right there out of the box. Yeah. That's it. That's the game.
Like,
and so you're
that's the end of it?
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah. There's not going to be anything, not more classes
that's
added?
That's what they've said so far.
I mean, they made... they may do a DLC, but they're not doing it a game of service type model.
Yeah, they said they're not going to abandon it, but it won't be games as a service as we know them. And so it's really interesting because it feels so games as a service, right? It feels
Yes.
like right in that vein, except for the fact, and this is why I think they did this, and we're spending a lot of time on Outriders, which I'm actually fine with because I really enjoyed myself. The story to me is way better than most other games as service that I've played that have a story. To me, this story, and I know Chris doesn't know the story because he watched it.
No, I watched some of it.
But like,
I still don't know. I scrubbed through and I was like, I got to find this part of the game. I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like, I'm not getting it. So I have to, you need to tell me. You need to let me in.
Playing.
yeah. So for me, the story, just even and over Destiny 1 and 2, like the story on this one is so much better to me. Ed, now that you've played Destiny 1, 2, Outriders, Anthem, where would you say this story falls with those games?
Yeah, especially compared to those games where, for the most part, whenever the story is going on, it's kind of like, yeah, I get to the shooting. Where here, I actually feel like there's a story, not just a cinematic for sake of having a cinematic.
That's how I feel about it, and especially, and I think that's why it's not a games as a service or whatever the saying is, because I think they're wanting to tell a narrative instead of leaving these like a bunch of just now we have to bring in this bad guy, now we have to bring in this bad guy, and like Ed's saying, there'll probably be a DLC that expands on the lore, but I think they just wanted to tell a story, but have you play it like a Destiny or a Division or something like that. I really enjoy the story. I think it's really cool. Actually.
Yeah.
So it's more like a four-person Gears of War in a way, like where it has a story.
Three-person, yeah.
Oh, it's only three. For some reason, I thought you could team up in a squad of four. You can. I only ever did.
Yeah, there's 4 characters, but you can only have 3 as the max in your
For
squad.
some reason, when me and Sarah played, I just assumed we could have had a fourth if we knew somebody, but I don't know. I guess because I knew there was 4 characters you could choose from. I guess I don't. That's so
right.
Weird.
Yeah.
Ed said that tell me what you told me when I asked why there wasn't more people than 3.
They had 4-person co-op, but they said that with everyone's powers going on at once, it was just really hard to read the field and know what was going on.
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a great thing, I think, to pull back on. It makes it more, to me, it makes it more challenging, makes it more interesting. You might have to team up and use your stuff a little bit more strategically than you would have if there's 4 people just blasting the field with all these powers. But
right,
I'm really interested to see how this goes, especially with it not being GAAS.